there are really two basic states of being. You're either in love or you're in fear. And fear, then creates a host of other things like anxiety, depression. It could create anger and apathy and all of these negative emotions, where love puts us in the present moment. It allows us to even be in heart and brain coherence so that we're in a brainwave state that is more creative. And the only place that we can create from is when we're in the present moment and when we're in the state of love, right?
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so happy to be back. This is a loud voice for love, and today we are going to be very loud with Sherry Salata on this whole theme of being a loud voice for love. And I'm super excited to have Sherry. I think Sherry knows this already, but I met her, oh my gosh, I think it's 11 years ago, like at a conference that Debbie Phillips was putting on in Chicago. And you've been on my list to be a podcast guest, but at the time I was doing a whole different thing. So I got you finally, and I'm so excited. And I think what you're doing now is just so in alignment with who I am and who I've become since 11 years ago, and what the world needs more than ever. And rather than me introduce Sherry and botch it up, I'm just going to let Sherry tell the world who she is and what she's doing. All I can tell you is that I'm in one of her networking groups, and it is absolutely the best group of women I've met in years. So
Oh, I'm
thank
so glad to hear that.
you.
That's great. Okay, so my story. Let's see. I'll summarize it. So here's my story. I've made a million trillion mistakes, and a lot has worked out really, really well. And so I'm a late bloomer. I have come to believe it's never too late to create the life of your dreams. I have had what many would call a stellar career. I've done everything though. I've managed toy stores, 7-Elevens. I have been a typist in a typing pool back in the day. But when I was 35, I got an entry level position at the Oprah Winfrey Show. And in that 20-year run, I ended up being the final executive producer the last 5 years. I was co-president of Harpo Studios and OWN. And in 2016, I said goodbye to that career with so much appreciation and became an entrepreneur. And today, I'm an author. I wrote a memoir called The Beautiful No. I do speaking across the country. But what I love the most is the power of community and membership. And I have two memberships, two platforms. One is called the Support System, which is fully focused on personal growth and expansion. And the other is the Prosper Network, which is for female entrepreneurs to help them meet one another and scale their businesses. So I love my life. I honestly, I will tell you this, I've never been so fulfilled, never been so on purpose, and never been so happy. That's me.
Well, I think that is what the listeners need to hear, right? Because we can all have what Sherry has. We just have to put our minds to it. We've had to put our thoughts to it, and we have to put our intentions on it. But we also need a network. We need people. Can't do it alone. And I think that is what what attracted me to the Prosper Network. And when I saw the three words that it embodies, which is generosity, reciprocity, and expansion, right? I mean, I just was like, wait, who are these people? These are my people. And it shouldn't be a new paradigm on how we connect and operate and help each other,
But it is.
but it is.
It is. Well, let me say this. I was just recently speaking in front of a very big group of EOs of the entrepreneurial organization. and they were asking me about have my values changed between being a worker for others and owning my own business. And I'm like, yes, because back in the day, and our values for business really reflect the values of our lives. But back in the day, you know, grew up in the patriarchy of a
Yeah.
certain age where it's competition, it's cutthroat, it's scarcity, money doesn't grow on trees, you're not the center of the universe. And a superstar was somebody who would self-sacrifice to the point of ridiculousness, and those were the real stars. And now my values have changed as the paradigm is shifting, and the paradigm is shifting as my values have changed. So I consider myself one of the people on the leading edge of a new day and contributing to that. And my values now are generosity, reciprocity, and expansion. And really, it's all about love, Carol.
Thank you. It
It's
is
all
all,
about love. It really is. I mean,
it's
we can just
missing piece.
we can put a period on that and our chat is done. It is.
Done.
It's all about love.
Yeah, and that's totally what I've set my objective to for this last part. Hopefully not last part of my career, but I too have had a million careers and have managed to get into my 60s. So and so at this point in my life, there's only one thing that matters, and that's love.
Yeah.
And I've and that's what has was missing for a large part of my career. I mean, I started in financial services. I mean, and I came home every single night and cried. I mean, because it was like I wanted to be successful, right? I mean, plus, like you said, we were conditioned in the patriarchy, and I was in the old with the old boys network, and man, was it nasty, right? I mean, I saw it all. I saw and just the cutthroatness, the step over people, the lying. I mean, it's just like like
Yeah.
wait a second, I'm watching that now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
and
The last gasp.
it is the last
It's
gasp.
a last gasp during the dismantling. That's what I say to myself.
I totally agree with that. Um, and I think it has to go. And so that lack of love though, man, like
Mm,
it's our time. It's our time because who needs to spend a good chunk of their life observing and witnessing and trying to play by those rules? It's just
yeah.
it was just it was no fun. It was
Right.
and I don't ask to change it because this is the lifetime we've chosen to be on and the path that I've chosen. So we get
Oh,
to be the light workers now. We take all that wisdom.
listen, there has never been a better time to be alive. There's
Yeah.
never been a better time to be in a female body on this planet. Oh, you might say, give me some examples of how that's not true. I'll give you 20,000 that show that it is true. The fact that we can connect through technology for these conversations, the fact that we have agency and so much choice. I mean, I realized this just last year, and it still snaps my gourd. I can't believe it. That when I was in high school, I could not open a checking account with a man without a man's permission, which would have been
Right.
my father. That's nutty. I couldn't have gotten a credit card without a man's permission, and
Yeah.
nor could my mother. I
Yeah.
mean, that is just nutso. And so that's how close we are to the era of no opportunity, no choice, of really, you know, having the boot on our necks. So I say this: you could be the poorest college student girl in the country and you still have a better life than an Italian princess in the 1600s living in a castle
That's for sure.
because you get to choose, you get to decide. You get to decide. So that's where I want to live, Carol, honestly. I was driving home from something, and I still get the CDs from Abraham Hicks, and that is like my spiritual practice in the car. And Abraham was saying, I was just like, "Dang it, this is it." That, you know, there's a part of me that finds grousing and complaining and finger pointing and protesting delicious, but I can feel vibrationally it's a mistake. It's not going to take me on the shortest route to where I want to get. And Abraham said, be an advocate, not a protester. And I was like, yes, there's the flip of that energy. It's a love piece
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
It's love, not condemnation.
exactly.
And love will get us where we want to go, believe it or not.
Well, we believe it.
I
And
do.
I read your little gem of the day today, which is it was replacing judgment with curiosity,
Yeah.
which is another one of my, favorites because when we think about why love is so important, it's because it's a frequency, it's a vibration, right? And the higher vibration, love is sort of like that place, like once you get to that love vibration, the exponential impact of that energy begins to shift the consciousness in the planet.
Yeah.
And so that's why I created this podcast. It's why I do what I do. And it's basically like my purpose is to raise the consciousness of the planet, whether it's one person at a time, a group of women at a time, a group of doesn't just have to be women. I mean, please, men, whoever's listening to this, like join
Yeah.
the love train. I mean, this is where it's at. Like, wouldn't you rather be hanging out with me and Sherry, like with our vibe right now, than
Yeah.
anybody else?
Well, and Carol, let me say this. Here's what I've come to believe. Your work is to raise your consciousness and hold your vibration. My work is to pay attention to my frequency and raise my consciousness. When you do that or I do that, it doesn't matter if nobody comes along. That is a huge contribution. That is our offering. That's how we're doing our part. And it makes a huge difference. Never discount the power of managing your mood. Just
Absolutely.
managing your mood is a blessing to the world.
Yeah, that's called emotional intelligence, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just being able to catch yourself. And I love that you mentioned the concept of like the notion of complaining, right? Or protesting or whatever. That is a very low vibration. And complaining, I think one of the first things on the list of moving towards enlightenment is the first thing is stop complaining, even about the weather.
Yeah.
Because complaining is and it's become so conditioned into our society. I mean, when I started doing this type of work, my conversation with my mom, you would crack up. It always was complaining about, like what was wrong, right? Not what was right. And when I realized, wow, I've been feeding her field and I needed to shift our conversation. And for a good year, when I decided that I was no longer going to have a complaining conversation with my mom, be like, hi, mom, how you doing? Great. How are you? I'm fantastic. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure, mom. Really? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a conscious effort not to do it. I mean, this is because we've been conditioned and it's our choice. And I love that the concept of choice because we forget that we have choices.
Well, I'm just as you're reminding me that I also have a podcast called The Practice Life that I don't think I put that in my introduction, but here's why I launched a podcast called The Practice Life, Carol, because to overcome those old patterns, we have to consciously practice new ones.
Yes.
And that's why things like meditation and yoga and breath work, that's why those things work because they're overriding the old patterns, the old neural pathways of unconscious, like just going right to complaining. Listen, I used to sit on a bar stool on Friday nights and meet my girlfriends, and we'd play the game of whose week is worse. And then I'd wonder why I was so glum all weekend because I had been practicing this low vibration of complaining. I was fighting for sadness, and I was fighting for being wronged, and I was cheering myself for my own victimhood instead of saying, you know what? My life is so great. This week was great. This week was fantastic. I feel so lucky and fortunate. I'm just in such appreciation. Tell me all the things you're appreciating about your life. That's what I should have been doing on those stools. And my experience of living would have been much different.
So much different. In fact, over the last few years, I've been to a bunch of dinner parties, and it always seems to take a turn to the negative. And
Oh,
I've been bold enough to say, no, no, no. Okay, it's you know, why are we going to be so rude to our hostess, our host, to like take this conversation to a negative place? And I literally say, how about we just go around the table and say, what's the best thing that happened to you today? And
love that.
it shifts everything. Everybody all of a sudden is in the love space.
That's right. That's right. And just so you know, like when you're learning something new, like you're like, "Oh, I'm not a positive person." That's like toxic positivity. I say that's just another form of grousing and complaining. Here's the truth. When you go on the hunt for beauty and goodness and things that are working and things that you love and things that you appreciate, your life gets so much better. Why would you deprive yourself of that?
Exactly. Exactly. Did you ever read Pam Grout's book E Squared?
Yes.
Right? Where
Yes.
she has you like it's the cutest little book, but it has like I think 9 exercises to prove that the law of attraction works. And so what you focus on, you attract. And so she has you work on all of these things. And I think the first exercise was looking for yellow cars, right?
Right.
And everybody's sort of like, there's so few yellow cars, but then when you start thinking about yellow cars, there's yellow cars.
That's right.
And
That's
that's
right.
the same concept. If we look for the bad, we're going to find the bad. If we
Yeah,
look for the good, we find the good.
that's
And
right.
I was just speaking to a client this morning and about gratitude, and I said, "Well, what's on your gratitude list?" And it's, sort of typical stuff. I said, "Well, how about making it more mundane?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Look at things that are in your everyday life that you forget. Like, how about the windows?"
Water running out of the faucet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we think about those things every day, like our day is so much richer. Like it's just like, wow, I mean, how lucky are we that we have shelter, we have water, we have windows that let the light in and keep the weather out. And
Yeah.
it's just we forget, or maybe we haven't told. And then, a lot of times I talk about our bodies, right? How amazing they are. And
Right.
the first thing I write in my journal every morning is thank God I'm alive in this body,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And now that sets you up for the day. So that is a really, really beautiful practice. It's a magical practice.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. You know, I would say this, to try to understand why we were raised differently, to wait for the other shoe to drop, to flinch and be worried and anxious about the next bad thing that's coming. We're only a generation away from people who are like the bottom fell out of the world with world wars and great depressions, and all of a sudden you've got stamps for sugar and butter and crazy business. And other things, like other things, like you just turn your back for a second and, 2 trade centers are going down. And and that is becomes a learned response to external events and external stimuli. So now, if I brace myself by constantly scanning for danger, that I can avoid being shocked and awed like that. And the truth is, it's the bracing yourself and scanning for danger that creates, that just uproots your hormonal system. It ages you exponentially. It completely robs you of a joyful life experience. And that is why we have to consciously practice something different every day.
Absolutely. And it is so absolutely true that we let our environment impact, how we think, how we act, and how we feel.
Yeah.
And the importance of being very aware of how we think, how we act, and how we feel. And that
Yeah.
we have control over it. We have a choice. And that, as you said, we can replace, thoughts that we no longer want with new thoughts and new actions and new emotions. And it is so powerful when you begin to create that as a habit, right? When you catch yourself. And yeah, I think that this whole being a loud voice for love and what you're doing too with um both the support system and the Prosper Network are so very important,
I
because
agree.
I think a lot of women in particular, we're just ready. We're ready for us. We're ready for the divine feminine to really step in and balance out, what's been
Yeah,
very unbalanced with the patriarchy. And you know what, we're also going to help men along, because
right.
they're confused too.
Yeah, and also the patriarchy isn't necessarily a male female thing. I
Oh,
remember, being trained to manage that way and having a very patriarchal style at times myself. And so there's a lot of men that are going to help usher in the divine feminine to, yes, create a balance between the empowered masculine and the divine feminine, between, action and intuition. And what I love about this time is that we're shifting the whole game. The whole paradigm is being completely rewritten.
yeah,
The whole treasure map completely rewritten of what it means to be a human. We get to participate in it and then live the fruits of it while
right.
we're still here,
Yeah,
because the momentum is running so fast that I mean, you can't even believe what's happening this year. I mean, if I would have told you 2 years ago this was going to be, you'd be like, what? You're crazy. I mean, everything, the momentum is happening so fast.
yeah,
And so the big love trick is to do that inner work so your love cup is full, so you are cherishing yourself, you're providing that love and that safety and that stability for yourself, that belief that you are practicing surrender, not having to fix, manage, and control the details of the outside world. And you are creating you're creating your own world and your universe according to the values that light you up. And what's happening on the outside world is going to be impacted by your energy in that. But you don't have to be as impacted by what's going on in the outside world. You really don't.
I totally agree. And I think that message, for my listeners and for all of us, is th that we get to choose, right? We get to choose how much of that we hear and don't hear, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how much do you, pay attention, right? Or, do you have to know, oh my God, he did this, or who, whatever happened today? Do not do that. That basically limbically hijacks us. It puts people into fear and fight or flight. The best thing that we could do during times of chaos is to take care of your inner garden, right? It's like, what do you want to grow? What do you want to cultivate? And so I love what you just said, and I think that um the message these messages need to get out there more and more. And why I think it's so important is, I do agree that we are part of the creation, right? It's the co-creating that is going on. Like, many of us did not really like what we came through, right? Like, in my career and your career, and but we have an idea of what we want to create. And instead of seeing this as, oh my God, it's breaking, it's like, oh my goodness, what do we want to build?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in order to genuinely be in that creative, innovative space, you've got to do the work. So you're in the receptive mode and the ideas can come and the solutions can come, but you can't be standing around wringing your hands. That's not going to work. One of my favorite modern thought leaders, Spring Washam, who wrote The Spirit of Harriet Tubman, is channeling the energy that is the great liberator, Harriet Tubman. And I was listening to her speak on Sunday, and it was just so, it was a marvel because that's exactly what she was saying. She's like, first of all, connect with me through the heart chakra,
Mhm.
that love is the most powerful force,
Yeah.
and that you fly so high that your enemies can't touch you. That's what you're looking to do. Raise your vibration so high your enemies can't touch you. And understand that the time is now. There's no more waiting. Live right now. The future that you want to create, live it now, be it now. And I just find that incredibly inspiring. You know, Carol, my own work for myself, I'm still liberating myself. I'm still taking care of the little girl that didn't have the perfect parents who knew how to cherish her properly. I'm still every now and then catching myself having a little temper tantrum. Why can't you love me the way I want to be loved? Instead of, and now when I hear that from myself or I see that pattern, I'm like, all right, little Sherry, take a seat, hon. Let me cherish you. I am the source of love. I am the source of the love you are seeking. Seek not any of that from the outside.
Yeah. No, healing happens from within. And
Hmm.
and it is really the only place that it happens. And I don't know if that I teach the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm one of his trained
Oh,
consultants.
you know, I love him. Do you know I've been to the week long?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember you posted it somewhere, but I was like, oh, I wish I was there when you were there. But oh my God, it's his work is the work that, yeah, helped me heal my eyes, and but it also, woke me up, right? I mean, I think my disease woke me up,
Yeah.
not because I wasn't already awoke, not I was already aware and spiritual, but I didn't
Right.
know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so his work really just catapulted me. And I also am a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. So I'm a medical Qigong practitioner and I teach Qigong. And I feel like both practices are such a beautiful marriage in the sense that they both are about self-mastery. And that's the journey we are all on.
Mm, yeah.
And I believe self-mastery is the self-love journey.
Yeah.
And that, it's sometimes it's a cha-cha-cha, one step forward, one step back, two steps forward, two steps
Totally.
back. And, we have lived in a society that is based on, immediate results, right? And immediate results and the quick fix, the pill. And this journey is a practice, not a pill. And
Yeah.
every single day, and I love Sherry and her support system offers daily meditations Monday through Friday. I mean, what a gift to the members.
Well, do you know why I'm doing that?
Is it for you?
So I show up for my meditation practice every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, and also here's what inspired it. Hearing like my 100th person, my 200th person say to me, I've tried meditating and I can't do it. I'm like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. Well, I've got these afflictions. I
Yeah.
can't do it. I'm like, yes, you can. Everybody can do it. So I wanted to demonstrate that. And also I was like, well, that would be great for you, Sherry, to show up, to create a sacred circle for 20 minutes and do a Vedic style meditation with everybody where you are literally going into dynamic stillness, which is the quantum field. You know, it's so funny you bring up Dr. Joe. Here's what's so great about Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's like the science of the law of attraction.
Exactly.
You know, Esther Hicks channeling Abraham is yummy goods. It's
Yeah.
just yummy. So simple. A child can understand it.
Yeah.
And I've been a student of Abraham Hicks for 20 years. Dr. Joe, little bit more complicated,
Yeah.
way more sciency. But it's like it's the same thing. It's like what there's so much more going on than we can see in our little 3D self, in our little 3D worlds. But if you can grab a hold, and I know you're going to agree with this, if you can begin, just suspend your disbelief. And if you can begin to say, I don't know everything. There's so much more going on here that I know, and I'm willing to be shown. I'm willing to be guided. I'm willing to experience it. Well, then forget it. I mean, you're off
Yeah.
to the races.
What a great, great affirmation bring. And, I totally know that that is true. And you know why we both know this is because of the science. So we all grew up learning that the atom had a nucleus.
Yes.
Quantum physics has proven the atom is empty, which means that we're 99.99999% energy.
Yes.
Means that most everything is invisible to us anyway. This meat suit is 0.0001%.
Yes.
So that statement you just made is absolute truth from the
Right.
scientific point of view. Like you don't even have to get somebody to believe it. It's proven for us.
It's really, really quite amazing. And then when you layer something on like this, everything is consciousness.
Mhm.
This pen has consciousness. This computer has consciousness. This ring of crystal beads that is it's a beautiful necklace that somebody made for me has consciousness. The trees have consciousness, grass has conscious, like, and you start having a relationship with everything, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. Oh, please. What an adventure this becomes.
It is such an adventure, and it's time for everybody to jump on the adventure because Mother Earth, it has a consciousness, and
Yes.
we haven't been treating her very well, and she's been talking to us, and
Yes.
so let's begin to understand that yes, that blade of grass has consciousness, that every single thing on this planet has consciousness, and the universe has consciousness, and so it's just, and we are consciousness ourselves. We can't forget that. We always keep ourselves separate. That's the other thing I think you obviously probably know through all your meditations and studying, is
Yep.
that we've also live in a society that promoted separation, right? Just by
Right.
virtue of our language, right? You and
Right.
me, he and
Yeah.
she, us and them.
Mm-hmm.
Fact, we are all one. We're all made of the same stardust.
It's really amazing. It's really amazing. Well, when I listen to you, Carol, it just reminds me that, one of our jobs is, um, you know, to ins to show the delight and wonder of playing in the fields of consciousness in this human experience that we're having, and communicating the the wonder of it in such a big way that other people are inspired. Because we're not going to get anywhere by pointing our fingers
Oh,
and,
no.
and going, you need to do this and you need to do that, because that don't work on me either. But if I see somebody lit up, just lit up with their own love and joy, and I say, I want some of that.
Exactly.
How'd you get like that? I want some of that. And inevitably, here's what it comes down to: they live a consciously practiced life,
Mhm.
and those practices feed them. It feeds them. Their self-love teacup is full to overflowing. They only give when it's overflowing. They give from the saucer, not from the cup. One of my friends told me that one. I love that. And they're on fire with possibilities for their lives. They know there are no limits. There are no limitations of any kind other than the ones we create for ourselves. So I want some of that. And
Yeah,
so the more on fire I get about those things, about the planet, about animals, about consciousness, about expansion, the more excited anybody in my slipstream is going to get,
exactly.
because I
And
feel like I'm coming out of my skin most of the time.
and that is what we're talking about here, right? That's that exponential energy, the heart.
Mm,
I'm also heart math certified, right? How powerful
yeah.
the electromagnetic field that comes out of our heart space. It is actually way more intelligent than our brain, right? This is our, and whenever I ask people, a lot of times I said, I don't really know the difference between, what I'm seeing out there, what's truth and what's fiction. I was like, well, you don't need to know. Just listen to your heart. The truth lives in your heart, and you're going to know what's true and what's not true.
Right. 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 Well, listen, the heart that's been the life's work, is like opening the heart, even in the face of, betrayal and disappointment and all kinds of things. Not letting the calluses grow over, and keep opening and keep opening and keep opening and keep trusting. And Carol, I think at the end of the day, that love piece, because I think about this a lot. Why, um, my journey, years and years and years, and I've heard everybody, I've heard every expert, every this and every that, but I understood it intellectually. But why is that journey to love of self been so, taken so long for so many of us? And it's because we weren't trained to understand we are the source of it. This is the love we want. We want our own love. We want to be able to trust ourselves. We want to be able to relax into the soft place to fall of ourselves. And that means we are speaking to ourselves in loving tones. We are cherishing ourselves. We are treasuring ourselves. We are giving ourselves, ease and grace, and that's okay. And helping ourselves through our failures. When we take that position, when we handle ourselves like that and speaks to ourselves like that, all of a sudden, we don't need anything from anybody.
Exactly.
Everything's just bonus stuff.
Yeah,
Nobody has to do anything to fill up our empty places. Everybody's off the hook, and we are truly liberated.
that is liberation, sister.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and that is the goal, right?
I'm
Is
almost there. I'm closing in on it. I still
you can
see those
feel
little
it.
pieces every now and then, the sticky wickets, when I'm like, uh, where I'm like, who are you right now? Are you 16 right now? What's happening? Um, and then I have to take that recalcitrant, bitchy 16-year-old and sit her down and say, "You're fantastic. Life is going so great for you. Come on, hon. Come
Yeah.
on."
Yeah, that's an
And
old unconscious habit, though,
yes, exactly. So that's the little work, just cleaning up that little stuff. But I would say for me, through practicing, I finally married my intellectual understanding with my experiential
Yeah.
experience. Yes.
And hence why you could be somebody that could create the two networking groups that you've created.
Hence indeed. Hence indeed, Carol. Yes. And and I must say, I had no idea how much joy they would bring me.
Yeah.
How the joy of the community having those empowering conversations. And I even look at that for myself. Here's what's often missing in our modern lives: reminders. I mean, we can start with the morning practice of meditation, and by the coffee break have forgotten who we want to be and how we want to live.
You left it on the cushion.
Yes. So I look at the support system in the Prosper Network, that I have these bumps, these guardrails. And so I am always in conversation, by the hit of an app. I'm in conversation. I'm reminded what values I hold, what I believe, what I know to be true. And then when I gather with our members, I just go, the miracle of putting together a room of women who are all having this conversation with themselves, you almost cannot do that in person so casually and with such ease. So I
Yeah.
just my buttons are bursting. I really love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you because, I feel so grateful that I was on your mailing list. And then when there was a Prosper Network kind of gathering last spring, I
Mhm.
joined and I thought, oh my God, of course I'm joining. This is so powerful. And
Yeah.
um and I love the speed networking. I mean, and so just so the listeners know, like, so this isn't like, hey, I got something to sell speed networking. This is like, hi, we're gonna give, give, get. Like this is reciprocity in action. And what
Yeah.
happens in these little speed networking breakout rooms is that you have a little set amount of time, but you can kind of show up and say whatever you want, and you listen and you help people and you set up coffee chats. Like nothing happens other than like connection
Yeah.
from the deep love space, from that space of how can I help this person, right? How can I be of service? And what
Right.
happens is in because this is how you and Angela and Melissa set it up with these three words of generosity, reciprocity, and expansion, is that that's what's happening. It's just this
Yeah.
beautiful place. Like, I hate it when it doesn't align with my schedule. I'm like, I'm gonna miss the speed networking. We're not
I know.
working.
I know. And here's what I think is also great about, because if you're a member of the Prosper Network, you get access to everything in the support system. And here's why that's important. Because the spiritual work, every work is a spiritual journey, friends.
It
A
is.
career is a spiritual journey. Offering your gifts for money to the world is a spiritual journey. And it's to create that ease and flow and that alignment, you gotta have your personal chops down.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it is all the same. So that's really, I really think that is the thing I most learned,
Yeah.
that if I could go back and do some things in my own life differently, it would be to really make sure that my personal growth is number one,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know then that impacts work in the most glorious way.
Absolutely. And that actually, and then we'll wrap up. Um, I've been having this conversation. It started a couple of weeks ago with a client who said, "Oh, I can't get this whole work-life balance thing."
Yeah.
Because that is another conditioned concept of work-life
Such a
balance.
lie.
It's such a lie.
It's such a lie. It was just such a lie to make women feel bad about themselves.
Right?
It
Yeah.
doesn't exist. Nobody
No.
has it. Nobody has it. And there's different seasons of your career and different seasons of your life. And there's a two and a flow. It is about flow and where you're going to flow your energy. Listen, like I wrote about that in my memoir, and it was a pivotal moment for me. And I was at the Debbie Phillips event.
Really.
Carol, yes. And someone, oh yeah. And it's like, I know what they're going to ask me. Number one, what's Oprah like? Number two, how do you achieve work-life balance? Well, I had no work-life balance, and there was not any balance in the horizon. I was working about 90 hours a week. So
Well,
in
yeah.
television, at a job people would snatch an eyeball out for, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And so what I realized is, who says? Who says that's the model? I'm the authority on
Right.
my life experience. And it's for me to do my own inventory and to take a look at how I'm managing things and make my own decisions about that. But the concept of coming into balance means you're always out of balance. So
Exactly.
there's a two, there's a fro, there's a flow to it. And really, here's the word. It wasn't about balance for me. The question I needed to be asking myself was, are you happy?
Perfect.
Are you happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were times working 90 hours a week, I was out of my mind with joy and abundance and feeling like the luckiest girl in the world. Other times, the answer would have been not so much.
Yeah.
I feel stressed. I'm out of alignment. I'm not lined up. I'm not living in accordance with my values. I'm not happy right now. So that really is the question. It isn't about do you have like work-life balance? The question is, are you happy? And if you're not, oh, that's wonderful information. That's the beginning of your treasure hunt.
Yes. I love that. I love that answer, and I love that concept, right? And that is, I mean, just think about it. If we like in our Declaration of Independence, there are the words, the pursuit of happiness.
That's right.
Right? And it was a very enlightened document. And so that is our purpose in life, is to be happy.
It
And
is. Oh, yes. You just said it. It's nothing more highfalutin than that.
exactly.
Your purpose is to be happy. And from your happiness, the world benefits. Everybody in your, that is the purpose.
It is. It's well, we solved everything.
We did. Da, 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 da. Our work is done, Carol.
That's right. Everybody just listen to this podcast. We give you the
Our work is
roadmap.
And then you and I should go back and listen to it once a week. Our work is done.
Exactly. So thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight. And if you have any last bit of wisdom on how we all could be loud voices for love.
It will always begin with you.
Mm.
Just like peace begins with you, love begins with you. And if you've had some love struggles with self, then maybe just start practicing in little ways. Like make your cup of coffee in a sweeter way. Drive to work in a sweeter way. Wake yourself up in a sweeter way. Just start being a little sweeter to yourself. And once yourself starts to trust your intentions, then it'll open up to you. And then you can be a little bit kinder, a little bit more cherishing, a little bit more treasuring. And that is the beginning of practicing more love for self.
So beautiful. I am so, so grateful to have had you for this time, Sherry. And actually, not that I wasn't in love with you before, but I've fallen more in love with you and who you are and what you bring, how you bring love into the world. And
I receive it.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining
Carol.
me today.
Such an honor. Thanks, everybody.
You're so welcome. And all right, so until next time, this is Carol Mirko, and it's a loud voice for love.
Raise a loud voice for love. Sky above, stars will guide. Together rise, we can move. Feel the power side by side.